Good day, my awesome artists. This week, we are doing an art project based on the art of Yayoi Kusama. She is a Japanese artist. She is female, and we're doing this because it's Celebrate Women Month, so that's what we're doing. So I'm going to start by reading you this book, Yayoi Kusama, From Here to Infinity. It's written by Sarah Suzuki and illustrated by Ellen Weinstein. Yayoi Kusama, From Here to Eternity. You might notice a theme in her artwork. Yayoi Kusama was born in the country of Japan on the island of Honshu, in a town called Matsumoto City. An old palace made of wood and stone overlooked a moat where swans swam. The streets were lined with little shops, and snow-capped mountains rose in the distance, swallowing up the sun as it went down in the evening. Yayoi's family owned nurseries where all kinds of flowers and vegetables grew, and workers tended the plants as they matured from seeds to sprouts to stalks. But Yayoi yearned for a different life, far from the countryside. She dreamed about what lay beyond the mountains in places far from Matsumoto City. She longed to leave home and see the world. Take a look at those flowers. Yayoi's mother wanted her to stay home and learn old-fashioned manners, how to dress elegantly, walk demurely, eat politely, and find a proper husband. But Yayoi wanted to be an artist. Every day she went outside with ink and brushes and paper. She drew things that she saw and things she imagined. She looked closely at the pebbles that lined the riverbed and at the leaves and stalks of plants, and she drew them as chains of tiny cells that looked like dots. When she was older and studying in art school, her teachers disapproved of her work, and they demanded that Yayoi paint in the traditional, precise Japanese style. She wanted to go where she could live without rules. And there you see her drawing. That's a little stream bread. When she was 28 years old, she packed up her silk kimonos and thousands of drawings and stuffed dollar bills into the toes of her shoes. Look at that. It was her first airplane trip. There were only 4 other passengers, and the weather was stormy with rain and lightning. The airplane wobbled and dipped as it flew to America. In New York, Yayoi went to the top of the Empire State Building, the tallest building in a city full of tall buildings. When she looked down, she saw buses and cars and yellow taxis zooming up and down the avenues, and bankers and teachers and artists rushing to work. From up on the 86th floor, they looked like dots. She felt very far from quiet Matsumoto City and her mother's rules. Here, it seemed, anything was possible. And you know what? If you go to New York City and visit, you can go to the top of the same building and look down. It's rather beautiful. Yayoi set about turning her drawings of dots into paintings. The dollar bills that she had brought to America quickly ran out, and she spent what little money she had left on paints and canvases. She worked day and night. She painted when she was cold. She painted when she was hungry. She painted when she was lonely. And she turned her dots into sculptures too, into soft, stuffed tubes that covered sofas and chairs and boats. She was devoted to her dots. For her, they were a way of thinking about the world among the stars, as one dot among millions of others. They were a way of thinking about infinity. And there is a picture of her furniture. She did all sorts of things, actually. Sometimes when she grew frustrated, she visited the Museum of Modern Art. She gazed at paintings by other artists, and she thought about why and how they were made. She looked at pictures of dancing girls and swirling night skies, trying to solve them as if they were puzzles. And these are some very famous paintings. Her paintings seemed so different from those she had seen at MoMA. When she at last was ready to show her work in public, she invited all the friends she had made in New York. When she arrived at the gallery, a crowd was spilling out onto the sidewalk. Her friends lifted her into the air, shouting, "Yayoi, you've finally done it!" Word about her artwork spread quickly. Her friends told their friends, newspapers wrote about her work, and reporters clamored to interview her about her dots. Now she began to show them in other cities all over the United States and Europe. Her dots were covering the world. They appeared in Venice in thousands of dot-shaped mirrors scattered over a big green lawn. And a pumpkin on a pier. On dresses, on t-shirts, on people walking down the street, and in mirrored rooms where glowing dots were reflected and reflected again. An infinity of dots. Can you see all the dots? This is a picture of an infinity room. It's quite famous, actually. All you see is dots. Well, and Yayoi. Having visited many countries all over the world, Yayoi returned to Japan. The country had changed since she left, with many different artists challenging the old traditional style, as Yayoi had been doing all along. And there she is, working on her art. She still lives in Japan, and she continues to paint her dots every day. I think she's like in her 80s. And she still works every day, all day. These 2 pages are filled with artwork by Yayoi Kusama from 1951 all the way through 1962. Do you see all the dots? And there's that chair. And this is a picture of her infinity room. It's called Infinity Mirrored Room, the souls of millions of light years away. She did this in 2013, but I do believe it is still traveling around the world and still can be seen. And then, this is really my favorite thing that she's done. She built a room and it's white, and then she gives all the people who come into it dots, sticker dots, and then they just put the dots wherever they want, so they become part of the art. It's an installation, an interactive installation. It's called the Obliteration Room, and she did it in 2002. This also is a traveling show and can be seen still going on in the world. And I think it's just a lot of fun. I really like it. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And then here is Yayoi. And if you can see the flower with her, that's kind of what we're gonna do, only we're gonna do it in paper with her dots. So it's fun. I like her art. It's just fun. I hope you enjoy it too.